On now. Mic's on. Crap. Okay. This level is actually super easy. Like, really, really easy. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Okay. Like, this will be the third time I beat it so far, because I beat it multiple times repeatedly. It's really easy. Yeah, I need to change the sound back to... You're in the atmosphere I breathe.
How much do you want? Not much. Less than you? I had a few fries. No. And then I had a before I left.
I know. It actually looks really nice. Actually, I like this color customization. What?
It's dinner time.
Oh wow, it's already dinner time. Okay, guess I'll be right back. I'll verify this quickly here, actually. Hopefully.
my head. Yeah. In my face. Let's go.
It's sorry.
Get the Samsung Galaxy Note 9, the fastest Note ever. Now 50% off with a Sprint Flex lease. It's the ultimate gaming smartphone on a network built for unlimited. 50% off for a limited time.
Sprint, it's the logical choice.
Way better than most shows on TV right now.
In order for them to be born...
Search millions of jobs on Indeed, including ones like registered nurse.
Cartoons are coming and going all the time. A show you may hate could last for seasons, while at the same rate a cartoon you love gets cancelled way too soon. That's just the industry for you. It's not perfect, but for the most part it works. And besides maybe like The Simpsons, most shows eventually end. Depending on the show's popularity at the time and the fan base, it's either highly revered and remembered, or it fades into obscurity, never to be remembered again. But sometimes there's a really good cartoon that's cancelled way too soon or never has the fan base it deserved. And that's what this list is about. Today we're talking about the underrated side of the animation industry. The shows that were really great but didn't get the praise they deserved. You may see some of these and go, oh, I remember that. I know I did while writing this list. Just a few rules and clarifications before we start. This isn't some quintessential list. This is mostly my personal opinion of shows I feel deserve more attention. Also, I know YouTubers have made or done similar lists to this before, and I just want to clarify that any similarities are completely coincidence, I promise. I'm not trying to rip anyone else off. I just wanted to do my own sort of take on this video. Okay, with all the boring stuff out of the way, let's dive right in. Cartoon Network has had its fair share of underrated short-lived cartoons, but one I remember really loving, even to this day, is Robot Boy. Holy cow, this cartoon was cool. Tommy is a normal 10-year-old kid who's the biggest fan of the super scientist Professor Moshimo. Professor Moshimo invented Robot Boy, but in fear of it being stolen by his arch rival, he entrusts it with Tommy. Now, in what universe leaving super sensitive advanced technology with a 10-year-old is the better alternative than keeping it yourself makes the most sense, I'm not sure. But it was a great concept for a cartoon. Robot Boy is a super powerful cyborg whose main draw is that he has 3 advanced stages he can go into, each one making him more powerful than the last. Seeing the transformations were so cool to me as a kid. I loved this show. Tommy had 2 friends, Lola and Gus, who were your basic boy-girl friends, and who help him out in his adventures. There's not too much to say about them. The show's main villain is Dr. Kamikaze. He's the short, grumpy supervillain genius that's always trying to get Robot Boy. One thing I never understood is, if he's super smart, then why doesn't he just make his own Robot Boy? The amount of time he spends going after this poor 10-year-old is nothing compared to the time he could spend researching the technology. But hey, I'm just some guy on YouTube, what do I know? This show was funny and full of surprisingly good action. It was made in the UK, Paris, and France, and was shown in America as part of CN's cool extreme new action blog. The show had a lot of Japanese influence, especially in Professor Moshimo and Dr. Kamikaze. It also had really cool art styles that totally screamed early 2000s cartoons. Everything was kind of curvy and utopian in a really cool way. But unfortunately, barely anyone talks about this show, and I'm not even sure how many people know about it. That's why Robot Boy starts off this list.
Sorry, Ro. You know we can't risk anyone seeing you.
Robot Boy never have any fun.
The original Ben 10 was a great show, and that's thanks to the great team working behind it. And that team is Man of Action. These guys made pretty much all of the Ben 10 TV shows, but in 2010 they decided to try their hand out at a brand new property, a brand new show. And that show was the high concept action comedy that is Generator Rex. Think of it as Ben 10 with a super in-depth story and a wider, more diverse cast of characters, and a developing plot. Oh, and it only had 3 seasons, while Ben 10 had multiple series. I'm not salty, I promise. Everyone in the world of Generator Rex is infected with these things called nanites. They have the ability to mutate their hosts at any time into horrible, disgusting creatures. This is thanks to a mysterious explosion that released the nanites, simply referred to as the event in the series. So basically, some guy could be chilling in a grocery store and the next second he turns into a horrifying monster. Because of that, Providence was invented to combat these things. And that's where Rex comes in. He's a kid who has the power to control his nanites and transform them into machinery. He also has the unique power to cure mutants and turn them back into humans, which makes him pretty much the most important person in the entire world. Sadly, Rex has no memories of his past, so Providence is the only family he has. The show is mainly about Rex taking down infected humans and curing them, all while battling the ever-growing villain that is Van Cleis. He's a person who's trying to take over the entire world with his mutants. Throughout the series, more is revealed about Rex's past and what happened with the nanites, so if you like a developing mystery, then you're gonna get it. Generator Rex is a show that can sometimes get a little campy, with his sidekick being an actual talking monkey, but overall it has great action, character writing, and plot so incredibly original and interesting that it's hard to believe it's talked about as little as it is. I mean, come on guys, where's my Generator Rex fandom at? Sadly, this show slowly faded away by 2013 with an actual satisfying planned ending. Despite the small buzz, Rex is definitely worth checking out.
I may gripe, but what I do, it's awesome. Sometimes I just have to remind them who's boss.
Lights out.
Ah.
Everyone is familiar with Genndy Tartakovsky's other cartoons, those being Dexter's Lab and the recently rebooted Samurai Jack. However, few know of his other cartoon, the non-renewed Symbiotic Titan. This show is described as a high school drama crossed with a giant fighting robot cartoon, which in theory sounds incredible and in practice is even better. Lana is a princess who escaped her war-torn homeworld of Galaluna, is that how you say it? I don't know. After an evil general took over. She's accompanied by Lance, a knight tasked with the job of protecting her at all costs. Also accompanying them is Octus, an AI robot who ends up being a lot of the comedy in the series, as we watch him attempt to blend into human society. Speaking of which, all three of them have to wait out on Earth until things are better, which means going to American high school and being real-life humans in our society. The show was half about them trying to fit in, they all have alter egos and different outfits, and half about them taking down a monster of the week that comes from their homeworld to destroy them. On their own, they all have a suit system to protect them. But when stuff really starts going down and they have their back against the wall, they can form the cyber megabot known as Symbiotic Titan. You can definitely feel the references here, mostly to early robot anime and cartoons like Gundam and even a hit of Transformers, especially with the transformation sequences. The only gripe I have about the show is there's a lot of early 2010s television CGI that doesn't exactly age well. Other than that, the writing and the action and characters are all amazing. So why is it on the list? Well, I know that Symbiotic Titans is a really popular show, despite its short lifespan. Most people see it more as a show that was canceled too soon. The reason it has such a short lifespan is because of pure cash money. Action shows like this rely heavily on toy sales. Look at counterparts like Ben 10. That show had seemingly endless toys. It made tons of money. By the end of season 1, Symbiotic Titan just wasn't able to make a merchandising deal. Because of the lack of toys, Sion pulled the plug and the show sadly ended after just one season. Genndy said he had big plans for the series if it went on, and we'd most likely see great things come from it. But as the years went on, buzz of the show grew greater and greater, and it became a cult classic. So while it may not be completely underrated, I still put it on this list because of its cancellation and the fact that it still has been brought back. It was cancelled for merchandise reasons, but things are different now. Cartoons rely less heavily on toy sales and still can have action and story. Just look at Steven Universe. I haven't seen many Steven Universe action figures out recently, but look at all it does have. T-shirts, backpacks, vinyl records. Imagine Symbiotic Titan with a reach like this. And with Samurai Jack's recent reboot, this is the best time ever to bring back the show. So people, petition online, write to Cartoon Network and Adult Swim, we need more Symbiotic Titan. It's worth it.
Don't make it, shake it, bake round. Don't make it, shake it, bake it, booty quake it.
No.
Remember The Book of Life, that incredible animated movie that received both critical acclaim and financial success? Well, the man behind it, Jorge Gutierrez, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, is an animator who, before the movie, had his own show on Nickelodeon, El Tigre, The Legend of Manny Rivera. The show centered on Manny, a kid with superpowers given to him by a magical belt that he flips to become El Tigre, his superhero alter ego. The show would just be an average kid superhero cartoon if it wasn't for the addition of his dad and grandpa. See, his dad is a famous superhero, White Pantera, but his grandpa is the evil supervillain, Puma Loco. Together they both fight over Manny, trying to each share their different morals with him and ultimately try to make him either a hero or a villain. For instance, in one episode, Manny wants his soccer team to win the championship, even though they lose non-stop. Sounds as hopeless as my love life. His dad tells him to lose and keep his pride, while his grandpa encourages him to cheat. This kind of dynamic is what the show centers around. I honestly feel bad for Manny. This kid's just trying to navigate the world. It's hard enough on its own without two people constantly yelling at him to do different things. It's like living with two parents who have different political views. It's horrible. The show was hilarious. The comedy on par with early 2000s SpongeBob. On top of that, it's a super original concept that should have lasted way longer than it did. I remember wanting his belt so bad as a kid. It just looked so cool. And his Mexican influences and style was something we just didn't get enough of on television at the time, so it was really cool seeing the culture depicted in such a normal way. Altergame sadly only lasted one season and faded into pretty much obscurity. Guys, more people need to be talking about this show, seriously. Just look at this scene.
Gas, a jug ban! I do hope that Rodolfo may not hear them, for he is highly allergic to the jug ban music and may fall ill and become unable to coach your team.
I remember back in elementary school days, back when I still made an attempt to read, I was obsessed with the Wayside School book series. The books took place at Wayside School, a not so normal place that honestly isn't safe for kids at all. The school ended up being 30 stories high, an error caused by the construction team who misinterpreted the blueprints to make a school that was 1 story high and 30 stories long. Well, the plot is crazy as that, it's hard to believe that the books wouldn't have inevitably been adapted into a cartoon, and sure enough, in 2005 we got Wayside the movie, an hour-long TV special based on the books. Later in 2007, it was adapted into the television show Wayside. Both series have the same plot, so I'll basically be talking about both of them. It's the same thing. The movie and show center around Todd, voiced by the incredible Michael Cera, a new kid at Wayside School. Todd is a normal everyday kid, a good counterbalance to all the insane people at Wayside School. A lot of the comedy here in the show comes from Todd reacting to all the crazy stuff that's happening around him. To the kids of Wayside School, everything is normal, but to Todd and the audience, it's absolutely insane. This is a good way to get the audience used to the show so that everything isn't too hard to follow. Every floor of Wayside School is different, which leads to interesting backgrounds and location. There are plenty of other main characters in the show. Dana, Myron, and most interestingly Marisha, a tomboy on roller skates who has a crush on Todd and feels the need to be mean to him. You know, like an Olga Hey Arnold type situation. There's also Lewis, a janitor yard teacher guy who is actually based on the author, as he used to work at an elementary school as a yard keeper for college credit. By far the funniest character, however, is Principal Kidswatter. His name may allude to physical abuse, but he's really just a dim-witted, vain person with no care for the students of the school. He just refers to Todd as his home address because he doesn't care enough to know his real name, a joke that still makes me laugh out loud to this day. Sadly, Wayside ended in 2008 after just 2 seasons. It's so sad to see a show like this get cut so early on. Seriously, this show is legitimately funny. The humor here is really smart. I rewatched it for this list and found myself enjoying it just as much, maybe even more than I did as a kid. Most of the episodes are on YouTube, guys. Please give this show a watch. Out of all the shows on my list, I think I recommend this one the most.
You tossed my desk out the window just to see how fast it would fall?
Why, of course, dear. It was Science Day.
Before Discovery Family, even before The Hub, there was another channel, Discovery Kids. Arguably maybe the worst out of the 3, I mean they did cancel it after all. This is the channel I grew up with and loved the most. The shows ranged from a cartoon about a talking shark to reality shows like Trading Spaces, Boys vs. Girls. However, one show really stood out to me as a kid, and that show was Time Warp Trio. The series was based off a book series that I never really read. I was, however, completely obsessed with the show. The plot centered on Joe and his friends Sam and Freddy. For his 10th birthday, Joe gets a magical book from his creepy magician uncle. I say creepy based off of my opinion of him, and the show is actually just a really great guy. The book, as it's referred to in the series, can take Joe to any point in history, leading to all sorts of wacky adventures. An interesting addition is that they meet their great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren, Jody, Samantha, and Freddy, who end up becoming main characters with them. They're all basically like their female counterparts. The show is the Time Warp Trio, so only 3 of them are hanging out together at any given time. But still, this is a really cool dynamic. Any episode could have a different combination of the 6 characters. This leads to really cool character dynamics and making every episode seem fresh and different. You don't know what 2 characters you're going to see in an episode, and it's always funny to see characters you wouldn't expect to be together, paired together. One episode could have Jody, Freddy, and Sam, another episode could be just the boys. It was always different. Every episode is mostly about them transporting to a different time and trying to get the book back, as it often gets lost while they transport. Why Joe never decides to grab like a lanyard or anything is beyond me. But this show had a really cool original concept and a chance to be something really great. They were like legitimately building up lore here. I mean, it even got to the point where there was a developing story arc, and I feel like if time allowed it, they really could have taken this somewhere cool. Sadly, the show only had 26 episodes before facing the chopping block. Thankfully, most episodes can be found online, albeit in lower quality, but this was back in like 2005, guys, so give it a break. I totally recommend Time Warp Trio. It's funny and interesting and way better than most shows on TV right now.
In order for them to be born, we'd have to go home, get married, and have kids. My hair does not look like that. Hey, this is serious.
Most everyone remembers Chowder. That show was great. But did you know that C.H. Greenblatt had another cartoon after? That's right, after years of development, Harvey Beaks finally premiered on 2015 on Nickelodeon. The show was an adorable slice of life centering around Harvey, our titular character, who lives in magical woods and has two friends, Fee and Foo. Fee and Foo often push Harvey out of his comfort zone and into adventure, and he ends up doing things that he never would have done otherwise. In a sea of cartoons with intense dark plots and story arcs, Harvey Beaks was a breath of fresh air. It was just a simple little cartoon about a happy little bird. It was full of heart, and on top of that, it was also really funny. But sadly, the show just doesn't get the attention it deserves. It had a pretty large following online. People know about it and they watched it, but I'm mostly talking about how the network handled it. It all started when Nickelodeon moved it from Nick to Nicktoons, which if anyone is familiar with Nick, they know this is basically killing off the show. And inevitably, it was cancelled. C.H. Greenblatt, the creator, didn't even know until everyone else did, which is the worst part. It sucks because obviously the show ended too soon. It just goes to show how badly Nickelodeon handles their original properties. If someone doesn't make money right away, they just rather cancel it than give it time to grow. It doesn't open the door to any new ideas, just SpongeBob reruns. If you haven't, please watch Harvey Beaks, support it, and don't let all the hard work of the cast and crew go to waste. There's 2 seasons to enjoy, so can we just not let this show fade away, guys?
You okay, dude?
I think my legs are broken. Wait, no, they're just dirty.
After Discovery Kids rebranded as The Hub, they got a bunch of new animated shows. A lot of them took off, like, anyone remember My Little Pony? But one that was hilarious and barely talked about anymore was Dan Versus. The show was built around Dan, an angry man who hates just about everything. Every episode, some crazy convoluted thing would happen to Dan, and he decides to literally wage war against that thing, doing everything in his power from there on out to get payback for whatever that thing did. These things can be anything from baseball to ninjas to family cruises. The comedy comes from just how absolutely absurd it gets. His plans get more convoluted and complicated as the episode goes on. Kidnapping, breaking and entering, nothing is off limits for Dan when he wants to get revenge. He often ropes his friend Chris and Chris's wife into plans too, and that's always funny to watch. Why it was cancelled was never made abruptly clear. I mean, the show was cancelled the same year it won an Emmy. It makes no sense. Curtis Armstrong, the voice of Dan, said, "Occasionally I would ask about the status of the show and be told that it wasn't cancelled. But when I asked about specifics, there would be long, awkward pauses, and then changes to other subjects. This is actually not uncommon in my business. Things just sort of fade away with a noticeable absence of closure. You can't help dwelling on it for a time, but eventually the whole thing just becomes a sort of fragrant memory. It's sad to see a show like this get the axe for no reason. It definitely did have a following, and rightly so. But in 2017, I barely hear mentions of Dan Versus. It's funny, original, and most of all, different than other shows. It makes me sad to think I won't see swarms of people walking around in jerk t-shirts, and sadly, this show may be destined as just a cult classic.
My car! Bedazzled! Pinkie Pie!
Yup.
Introducing Spectrum Mobile, built on America's largest, most reliable 4G LTE network and designed to save you money with the best network, the best devices, and the best value. Spectrum Mobile. Click to learn more.
Speaking of already established cult classics, few people remember the Phil Lord Chris Miller animated project before the Lego Movie, Clone High. This show aired on MTV in 2003 and centered around a teenage high school full of reincarnations of historical figures. Abraham Lincoln, JFK, Gandhi, they got everyone in here. The show was a parody of teenage dramas that were big during that time, a la Degrassi or Dawson's Creek, and despite that, the show had aged super well and isn't dated at all. That's because the show was full of smart comedy and great writing. It was a shame that it ended after only just 1 season. Seriously, there's so few shows that made me laugh as consistently as Clone High did, or were as quotable. So why was it cancelled? Well, Pan Pizza did a great job covering it more in depth in his video, but here's kind of a more simplified version. Basically, in India, people took offense to the depiction of Gandhi, especially since in one episode they showed him getting beat speed up. People even protested and planned to fast until the show was taken off the air. It was messy. Lord said, basically, they threatened they'd revoke MTV's broadcasting license in India if they didn't take the show off the air. After multiple repitches without Gandhi, the show was inevitably just taken off the air and cancelled. Clone High is still remembered and highly regarded, but still it's cult. We need a reboot of this, which means we need as much support as we can get. I want to see Clone High on Netflix. Let's get a Blu-ray release. Let's get a Kickstarter for a reboot. This may seem like a lot, but seriously, Clone High was a diamond in the rough, and there's really never been a cartoon quite like it since. So show your friends Clone High, force them to watch every episode. Let's get the Clone High hype train going at full blast. I need that Blu-ray.
You over 21?
No.
So I guess you're 21.
I am 21. I'm not 21.
Cartoon Network has had its variety of programming blocks throughout its run, and one of them was an import of French cartoons. Other shows on the program block, like Totally Spies, were okay, but the most standout show was definitely Code Lyoko. This action comedy was basically an anime for my little boy eyes, and I enjoyed every second of it. The show centered around a bunch of kids that went to a boarding school. However, near the school is a factory, and in the basement is a supercomputer housing Lyoko, a massive virtual world that the kids can enter freely using magic internet tubes. Turning on the computer accidentally releases Xana, a virus in the system that is hell-bent on trying to destroy the rest of the world. So anytime that happens, our heroes, Jeremy, Odd, Ulrich, and Yumi, have to enter the virtual world of Lyoko just to stop her. Jeremy also meets Aelita, his waifu trapped inside the computer world, who eventually is brought back into the real world. That's what set Code Lyoko apart. Even though most episodes followed a similar formula, the show ended up having an overarching and developing plot. The characters change and they face real-world consequences, like the character Will, who starts out normal and ends up getting corrupted by Xana. They also explore more of Lyoko, and they get a cool ship, and oh! This show was so cool! Mwah! Despite all this, Code Lyoko isn't brought up much anymore. Even when I watched it as a kid, I remember being the only one to watch it. Regardless, the show was great, and it even had an actual ending that wrapped everything up nicely. Everyone remembers it, but no one talks about it or praises it as much as they should. So if you haven't seen Code Lyoko, I highly recommend it. Oh shit, they made a reboot! Well guys, that about wraps up this list. Even if not all these shows are remembered or praised as much today, they still are in my heart. Only one to watch much as they should. So if you haven't seen Code Lyoko, I highly recommend it. Oh shit, they made a reboot! Well guys, that about wraps trying to destroy the other show freely second of it. The show centered around a bunch of kids that went to a boarding school. However, near the school is a factory, and in the basement is a supercomputer housing Lyoko, a massive virtual world that the kids can enter freely using magic internet tubes. Turning on the computer accidentally releases Xana, a virus in the system that is hell-bent on trying to destroy the rest of the world. So anytime that happens, our heroes, Jeremy, Odd, Ulrich, and Yumi, have to enter the virtual world of Lyoko just to stop her. Jeremy also meets Aelita, his waifu trapped inside the computer world, who eventually is brought back into the real world. That's what set Code Lyoko apart. Even though most episodes followed a similar formula, the show ended up having an overarching and developing plot. The characters change and they face real-world consequences, like the character Will, who starts out normal and ends up getting corrupted by Xana. They also explore more of Lyoko, and they get a cool ship, and oh! This show was so cool! Mwah! Despite all this, Code Lyoko isn't brought up much anymore. Even when I watched it as a kid, I remember being the only one to watch it. Regardless, the show was great, and it even had an actual ending that wrapped everything up nicely. Everyone remembers it, but no one talks about it or praises it as much as they should. So if you haven't seen Code Lyoko, I highly recommend it. Oh shit, they made a reboot! Well guys, that about wraps up this list. Even if not all these shows are remembered or praised as much today, they still are in my heart. And in the end, that's all that matters. But seriously guys, please check these shows out if they seem interesting to you and you haven't seen them yet. It's so worth it. If there's any shows I missed or just didn't include on this list, let me know down in the comments below. I'm ready.
Every day brings something new. So much to look forward to. Nationwide is on your side.
Welcome back to the Roundtable, I'm Retro Nemo, and today we're breaking down another exciting episode of the Amazing World of Gumball. This episode we're tackling the shippening. As always guys, this is the series where we take a peek behind Gumball and see all of the hidden references and Easter eggs you may have missed. So without further ado, let's start talking about the shippening. In this episode, Sarah receives a magical notebook where anything she writes comes to life. Immediately she starts writing shipping fanfiction that she claims is non-canon, but because of the magical contents of the notebook, the thing that she writes down actually happens. And soon the entire town of Elmore is in complete chaos with everyone being shipped with everyone and Gumball fanfiction running rampant. It's just crazy. Luckily, Gumball and Darwin save the day when they go to Sarah's house to tell her that everything she's writing down is actually happening, and she writes that it's all fanfiction and everything ends happily. But as always, this is Gumball. It's riddled with tons of hidden Easter eggs and secrets, so without further ado, let's break them down. Even the title itself is a reference. The shippening is a pretty obvious reference to the M. Night Shyamalan film The Happening. Did the title card music sound familiar to you? Well, if you're a fan of Death Note, it might have, because it's a pretty direct parody of L's theme from Death Note. This pretty much solidifies this as a parody of popular anime. If you're unfamiliar with Death Note, that series involves a magical notebook of its own, except every name written down in it dies. So it's a very fitting parody, not as dark. Gumball characters constantly show up in the series again and again. The Van Shopkeeper is no different. If you remember, he's the one who sold Darwin to the Wattersons and the Universal Remote to Rob. This is actually his 6th appearance in the series. This time though, he finally gets caught and is on the run for selling his dangerous reality warping inventory to the citizens of Elmore. One of the shopkeeper's items is clearly a homage to Chucky, the living doll and antagonist of the Child Play series, sporting very similar attire, but gray hair as opposed to the normal red hair. Much like how this doll jacks Frank the French fries body, Chucky's mission is to transfer his soul back into a human body. You're not slick, Gumball, I see you. Gumball is famous for parodying movie cliches, and this episode is no different. Soda Can Cop, for instance, falls into the cliche of a very literal bad luck genie trope, as he gets strapped into a bed against his will after wishing he was in bed. The Awesome Store van itself is full of references, including Bullet Bill from the Super Mario series, Thor's hammer, a one-star Dragon Ball, many swords from various series, and so much more. This is the Ready Player One of convenience stores. Sarah is a true self-proclaimed weeaboo. The kanji on her shirt translates to otaku, a Japanese term that's become a general slang for anybody who's engrossed in Japanese culture, particularly anime and manga. Why am I not surprised? Tying back into the title card's theme, the notebook Sarah picks up is an obvious parody to when Light finds the Death Note in the Death Note manga and anime. If you remember, he literally just picks it up off of the ground. And similar to the Death Note, whatever's written in this notebook comes true also. Gumball is not one to be subtle with its references, and the notebook with a golden Cartoon Network logo on it is proof of this. When Sarah's in her fanfiction mode, it's very similar to Light Yagami, the main character and antagonist of Death Note. Her mannerisms, the way she speaks and articulates her words, down to her facial expressions, are all influenced by Light's tendencies as seen in the franchise. But there's even more Death Note references. Sarah sitting at her desk, blind shut, and only a lamp as the primary source of light is a reference to one of the most iconic scenes from Death Note, with Light sitting at his desk rapidly listing off victims. Not only does Gumball do a great job parodying movies, but they also do a great job parodying internet culture. In this episode, Sarah shipping everyone left and right, even if it doesn't make complete sense at face value, is all a reference to the wonderful world of shipping. Usually online, shipping is of course when fans pair up two characters with each other into a romantic relationship. These can range from pairings that actually happen in the show, such as Gumball and Penny, or way out there ships that come out of left field. And I mean way out of left field. This episode featured yet another reference to a previous episode of Gumball. Hot Dog Guy's line, "I love the way you speak your mind," literally, to Claire is a reference to the episode The Others, where Claire narrates her life in the format of a teen drama. Sometimes I do that. I hope that's not bad. Also referencing itself, this is the 3rd time Larry attempts and fails to propose to Karen, the first 2 times being in The Laziest and the Goon. When Gumball makes a reference, it goes all out. If you've been around the internet, Zachariah Lopez Kirby and Alex Zabandra may have seemed familiar to you, and that's because they're directly based off of 2 Gumball OCs, Zach Sylvia by Migs Garcia 5127 and Skyland by Gumball Bunny. There were a few alterations in the design for Zachariah, but Alex Zabandra is a spot-on direct reference. And if you think when Gumball brought up shipping it wasn't gonna take it there, it definitely took it there. Zachariah and Alexandra dating is a similar reference to how some fans ship Gumball and Darwin together despite them being siblings. That's just not right. In the episode, Alex Banjo's catchphrase, "This bird is out of control," could be a reference to Gumball Bunny's DeviantArt ID picture, which features Skyline and a lovely blue bird. And if this is a reference, this is definitely next level for the writers. But the fan art references don't end there. Adult Darwin and Carrie is a reference to fan art of nearly identical designs by a user under the name of Jonathan Elrod. Darwin's statement, "It's supposed to be Carwin, not Carball," is a reference to ship names, combining the first half of a character's name with the other half of their theoretical partner. Carwin is Carrie with Darwin, and Carball is Carrie with Gumball, which is what Darwin does not want to happen at all. The poor boy just wants some love. Although there's a lot of direct references to fan art, adult Darwin and female Gumball getting married isn't referencing just one specific piece of fan art, but an entire slew that depicts the two together while simultaneously portraying both in human form, usually giving Gumball cat ears with blue hair, while Darwin portrayed with darker skin while retaining his red hair. Usually a nod to how many feel Darwin is a representative of African Americans. However, Gumball's gender was changed to female here, likely due to censors. Darn censors, ruining our show again. Gumball pointing out Sarah's handle on adult Gumball's shoe is a reference to how most artists on the internet watermark their work around a character, usually on their shoe or any curvy part of the body. Luckily they went with the shoe. It seems like Sarah's a fan of anything nerdy, as Donatello from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles can be spotted in her room. Did you think we were done with the Death Note references? Well, you're wrong! Later in the episode, Sarah attempts to destroy a page of her fanfic journal, and by extension a character, by ripping it apart and burning it. In the 2017 live-action Death Note film on Netflix, a name written on the Death Note can be nullified if the page is burned. This could be a reference to how this was Netflix only, and possibly also changed by the censors. As Gumball attempts to rewrite everything back to normal, the soundtrack once again is reminiscent of L's theme from Death Note. They weren't gonna do that just once. Gumball's known for its great recurring jokes, and this episode's not without him. Alex Banjo's catchphrase from earlier finally pays off, when her swan-shaped boat loses control and crashes. Her catchphrase, of course, is "This bird's out of control," so yeah. In this episode, Gumball subtly breaks the fourth wall. He remarks, "You think you can lock 3 people in a room and pressure them to keep coming up with gold?" This is a direct nod towards the writing process in television, usually towards script-driven shows that go on past their prime. Eventually, they'll just start revisiting old concepts over and over and Simpsons. At the end of the episode, when Gumball and Darwin kiss Sarah and it turns out to not aid the plan in any way, it pays off Sarah finally getting what she's been wanting for seasons, and 2 is a nod towards how shipping usually doesn't add anything to the story. Fitting enough. Also, check out Tom's video on shipping we released last week. It's another classic. Well guys, there you have it. These were all the Easter eggs and references that we caught in the Gumball.
I remember this song. I remember this. Yep, Mike's back. Yeah, I'm a horrible creator. Trust me. None of the levels I made were actually telling me how to make. I just used the creator hacks and then copied the gameplay, did all that. Because I had no clue how to make the levels. I just wanted to make levels for the songs. Game Revolver's the same way. I just verified the levels. Basically, they're untouchable make collabs of people who didn't even know they're in a make collab. I remember this song. I miss song. I remember this song. Let's go. Dun 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 dun. Oh crap! 6652666266626662666. Yeah, I actually do want to see how it is. Yes, 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 yes. I remember this was weekly game 4. So not weekly game, this was daily level 4.
Abby is putting the cookie layers together with ganache. Why ganache today? Why ganache?
I remember that level. Okay, oh, okay. Yeah, I forgot. Sorry, my bad.
I didn't taste it. I hope the flavor of the falls in front. Nice. Maple, candy. I'm singing. Why? I'll put on everything.
Right.
Yeah, like this. No, I guess I'm not.
Crap. Oh, you buffed it. That's nice. Just actually, you buffed it. That's actually really nice. Thanks, dude. Hey, birds. Deep in the night, wearing disguise. Crap. Mega hack. Deep in the night, wearing disguise, no lies can see in the dark. No, 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 no.
You can never add too many sprinkles. So then I work cosmetics, and I feel like I missed something in the kitchen. So I looked at the pantry and I decided to add That's what I want to make it. I put a layer of vanilla frosting, and then
My quality freshness and authenticity. That's what I love. The next one of us. Emily, come on in. Okay.
Nothing left except for tails. Looks like we're quite amazing. Well, it's a giant Nickelodeon cookie with bagel cream and frosting.
That sounds delicious. I tell you, man, it is super special. The thing I like about it is that even though we know it's good, it's the most effective.
Yeah.
You didn't know it was
That's
but
true.
look at the cookies. And then you go to slice them, they're just like, oh, these cookies.
You need to be more dedicated about not getting
Mine.
I love that you actually get a heart there with your name. Wow.
Looks like a cookie. You know what's missing? Bacon. That crunches rice.
Okay.
I don't taste a lot of maple, but the cream cheese tastes so yummy, and the sticker will taste just like sugar.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Hi, Lindsay.
Hi. Tell us what you made for us today.
I made a dark chocolate cookie cake with strawberry buttercream and hazelnut chocolate ganache.
Let's talk about the presentation of this beautiful chocolate, strawberry cookie cake.
It's kind of beautiful.
Yeah, it looks like it's a little.
Yeah, it's a little. It's pretty. Yeah. What happened?
It fell apart, and then they kind of piece it all back together with buttercream, but, you know.
You know what I have to say? Thank you for not making excuses. Thank you for just telling us the truth. I love when kids are honest.
I wouldn't have been.
Yeah, I love it. Hey, that was easy.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I like the chocolate.
Boy, do I love this frosting.
Oh, thank
It's
you.
really tasty. It's not overly sweet.
It's spongy like a cake, but it's crumbly like a cookie.
Yeah.
You know, it's really interesting. It's really good.
Thank you.
Alright, Bill, come on in. What's up, dude? Tell us what you made for us.
Today I've made for you a chocolate chip cookie cake with Neapolitan frosting.
Alright.
Well, this is gorgeous.
Thank you.
So, Chef, tip all that happened right here.
How come you wouldn't notice?
I was taking it out of the pan and just a little bit fell off.
Oh, gotcha.
Did you eat it?
I think maybe instead of eating it,
I mean, put it back. It was good. I was hungry.
wow. You know, it's like nothing is more disappointing. You're like, oh, chocolate chip cookie, you bite into it, it's like cream.
Yeah.
Come on.
I like watermelon chips. And the strawberry. Not too sweet.
Okay, here's the sauce. Because as a cookie cake, when the cookie and the cake is stuck together, it's like you can achieve that perfect texture and flavor.
I wish the cookies were half the size. They're so good. Thank you. Thank you.
Come on in.
Tell us what they do here. So they oatmeal regular cake, and I put some like cinnamon, dry and all that. That is one killer.
You know what I love? You know, it's like, and you can use a mold, and you use free form huge cookies. Yeah. Ooh, that's good. Oh boy.
Wow.
Wow.
Look at that. Uh-oh, I expect any difference in the middle. Anyway. You were just leave that out. Not tell us. I love spicy cookies. And when it's spicy, I'm always great for spicy cookies. Every day. Do not make them.
The ginger is really, really nice.
The flavors of your are perfection. Thank you.
Hey, Alex. How's it going, buddy?
Good, how are you?
No, pretty good. So let's see it. Let's see the answer. Yeah. Now you're a real chef.
Yeah.
Nice chef without scars. There you go.
So tell us about your cookie cake. Okay, so I'm gonna learn sugar cookie cake with a nice white frosting and it's
So you ran out of room. You were your hand.
yeah, I did.
So you got the next kind of over here. Then you cover it up with stars.
I hope it tastes
Okay,
The raspberry buttercream is something really good.
I'm not getting any lemon. Holy.
Don't say the L word unless you're going to I think you might overmix your cookie dough. Because it's not as tender as I want a sugar cookie to be. Yeah. Alright.
what's happening? Alright.
So tell me what you made for us today. I made a peanut butter cake, and I used this peanut butter and honey. So, you have to put your name on it, an edible name. I see a moon. Yeah.
I got 3/4 of an M and then just
What happened, Michael?
I'm trying to do my name. I'm trying to do my initials. I don't have time to do my full name. I'm just scattered everywhere.
Okay. So you did not fulfill that particular challenge. How's it taste?
Yeah. What's going on in here? What's going on?
Yeah.
How'd you make this peanut butter cookie dough?
I made just like a chocolate cookie cake, but instead of using chocolate chips, I use peanut butter chips.
It's like a peanut butter blondie cookie. But I wish there was more of a punch of peanut butter, you know?
The frosting is very sweet. As soon as you put it in the mouth, it's like, ooh, that's sweet. It's a lot of sugar. That's a lot of my food.
Wow. I could have put up the sweetness of the cookie and pulled that and shoved it in the frosting.
Or vice versa.
No, the cookie needed to be.
Alright, chef.
He was adamant too. No.
I can also combat that, yet she's so scared.
No, you can do it.
You design options to
Alright.
I pair of glasses.
Yeah.
You look amazing too. And right now, at our friends and family event, get 50% off all the and Misty.
By the time I got by the time I got the eye exam, the frame, I got cheap frame, and the actual lenses, what?
Misty, 50%. Vision work. We're here to help you. You know that? What do you think? Starting a trend.
Yeah, I'm going to make a million bucks off of this. Hey, Brad. How'd you do today?
I love it.
Well, I don't think I use the word surreal around a lot.
So explain to us what you made for us.
Well, today I made a snickerdoodle cookie cake, and it's just regular vanilla frosting with sprinkles inside.
That's magical.
It is? Magical. I want a unicorn to pop out.
I want a unicorn.
I love the way you did it. You know, you didn't just like lay it down on top. It's nice. It's like almost like a rainbow. You know? Well done.
It looks like a festive birthday cake. Will you make my next birthday cake?
Totally, I mean, hold on.
Try to take my job.
It's got that perfect snickerdoodle consistency. Maybe put up a little notch on the cinnamon so you really know
It's delicious. It's just not really snickerdoodle. It's more just cookie. But man, it's just like you. Thank you so much.
Oh, they put taste for
It does look way better. Wait, yeah, the mic's on. I didn't even realize. It looks. This so. I'm gonna change it so that instead of having it as that song is instead of having the song I have now as the change song, I'm going to replace it with Zizix that thing because I'm pretty sure that syncs better. And what do you think? We need to find a song that syncs well with the level for mobile players.
We love peanuts.
That's what happened with Killbot and Idols. That's what happened with Killbot and Idols. Remote players, for them to beat the level, they had to have a sync song. Yeah? Yeah. So, Steam players can play this version, and then, mobile players can play the use of the sync song. You haven't heard this song?
But because of the vanilla frosting and the chocolate frosting, it's kind of hiding a bit of the peanut butter.
This chocolate peanut butter drizzle, whatever you do here, put it in a jar and sell it. This is delicious. What is that? Oh,
So basically, how Idols by Savico GD Moore and Killbot by Bullstep Moore and the Fusion, how they those aren't the actual songs for the levels. They used a sync song. They used a Crimson Clutter song for Killbot, and they used Catalyze for Idols. And the reason for that is mobile players aren't able to get the songs without changing the game files, and usually they don't know how to do that. I'm pretty sure you can't change the game files from your device. I don't know if you can. Yeah, exactly. So we use a sync song instead that syncs with the level's gameplay, so that mobile players can actually play the level with a song, so that they can actually hear a song, and that syncs well, and so that and Steam players, yeah, exactly. We need to find out which song syncs with it. So we need to find that, because I'm positive the song I have right now does not sync with it. Okay. What is it? What you mean song?
No.
What is it?
It's just a tiny bit.
Okay. Thanks for buffing it, by the way. I'm pretty sure I'm definitely gonna enjoy that. I don't know it either. I think it's 50 beats per second. I think it's 50 beats per second. 50. It's really fast, actually. It sounds slow, but it gets really fast super quickly. No, Zuhan buffed it. Zuhan. The stream delay, though. Oh wait, that wasn't stream delay. Never mind. I saw another killer in the night, deep in the night, wearing disguise. No eyes can see in the dark. This is gonna be so difficult. Thank you, Zuhan. Thank you for making this in like a meme demon. I'm just kidding. It's fine. It's actually gonna be nice to verify. I like verifying meme demons. I think Revolver actually is an easy demon because I nerfed it so much to an easy demon. It used to be it used to be an extreme demon, but I nerfed it to an easy demon because it was too difficult for me. And they said it was fine. I'm trying to see the changes you guys made. I should use a practice mode though, because no clip is not good. Yeah.
It's a very tasty sugar sweet. Something wrong with that notch and I cannot figure it out.
Oh, this is gonna be so annoying. Okay, let's go. Okay, that needs to be like. This has to be to fix the sink. Thanks, dude. Alright. Oh, it's already.
What they never had, a job. Nosotros los Nobles. Premiere Sunday, September 16th, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on Cine Latino. Available on Fios Telemundo, channel 1685.
You pay your auto insurance premium every
Bakers, your cookie cakes were imaginative fun, but really taste your cakes.
There we go. Fix the sink. All right, fix the sink, guys.
You use the advantage of organic. Chocolate chip cookie cakes right on the point. And the chocolate chip cookie
I know. I just made the speed better. I'll remove the other speed part as well. I saw it. I just want to see if it syncs well and if the gameplay is actually possible.
really like the whole of the ginger.
I don't want to see if it didn't cause any bugs to pop up. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I have an idea. I really just buffed it a lot, didn't I? I literally just buffed it more. What if I... Oh, that's fine. Go!
Unfortunately, that leaves Alex, Michael, and Gary. They step forward.
Yeah, you can fix that too. You can, yeah.
Texture your cookie was off. We ran out of room right away. Mike, you need to recognize the cookie. Frosting and cookie were both
And the large chestnut is non-healthy. It's so hard. We were each so
I just buffed it.
Michael, so sorry, man. You're a cool kid, you're an awesome baker.
Sorry, Michael. My first competition was why me for anything.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I don't need to do that. Here, how about I just do this? Boom! Fixed it. Haha. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I'll move that saw. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, Zuhan, my bad. Zuhan. Yeah. Yeah. You can edit. You can still edit it. Where? Oh wait. Jumbo Jones. Yeah, I remember. By the way, I have a common break. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So I'll get that. Here we go. Alright. Yeah, here. That actually looks really nice. My question is, yeah, that looks really nice actually.
And I can't say what criteria it is. Hold on, I just did.
Hey! Oh! No way! Is this UC? They're back?
Oh, so like does she just?
Yes! Like return to the good, like they're actually like good again. I'm intriguing. Yeah. Holy crap, they're actually good again. Like they're no longer offset anymore. Is it good? They're not even offset anymore. Remember, it used to be like completely where there's no like laugh tracks at all. If you were like watching it, you weren't on set. Those are stupid. I think they realized that was a mistake, and they went back to their real ways. I think they realized it was a mistake to do that since season 9. They brought back the season. They answered that they didn't really have a few on set. They were only when they were on set and people were watching them, and then on stage, and then they have like off set. They used to be off. It switched to season 8 to see if it would work better. But they realized it wasn't working, so they just switched it back, and it's so much better. Yeah, people are watching. Yeah, people are watching now because there's an audience there, and that means there's an audience there, there's actually people laughing, and that makes it a bit more funny. Because that's what they realized. The people were laughing as much as the offset, because they're repeating the same joke a lot, and because they had no people watching laughing at the jokes. Now, yep, finally. It's actually pretty funny to play that. No, I'm live streaming, actually, so I just wanted to say that. Holy crap, Studio C is back! Sorry. Okay. Can we do yeah. Okay. Yes! I'm so glad UC is back to its original self. Okay. Alright. Yes! They're back as okay. Deep in the night, wearing disguise, no eyes can see.
So like does she just say? Thank you very much.
Whoa! I'm so glad she's back. Oh my gosh, UC is good again. Let's go. Season 8 was back. Sorry, Dad. Season 8 was pretty bad. Season 9 is amazing. Thanks, Jolt. Okay, this is gonna be really difficult now. All right, here I go. Thanks, Jolt. Wait. Jolt, you fixed. the sink.
Sorry, this is a little awkward.
Yeah, that's the envelope of wood is spiking. He doesn't really talk, but actually I'm quite verbose and well read.
Okay.
You've never bothered to initiate me in a conversation, have you? Just want me to deal whenever you have need of my skill set. However, I'm sure that Keenan has heard it. No.
Yeah, I need to fix the sink, because you can tell. You guys need to fix the sink.
Oh, that's Jeremy. He's not one of our characters. He's
Okay.
just a human being
I'll fix it. Then I'll just say that. Or...
Thank you very much, Jeremy. Thank you very much.
No. I don't know.
Family doesn't recognize us.
Really? But the rivalry?
I'm not sure that's a thing.
What's the rivalry?
So on your parts right here. Oh my gosh! Hey.
I'm a big fan. We love heavyweights. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Everybody likes heavyweights. I really like that. I'm sorry, guys. I don't recognize you either. Oh. No, we don't expect you.
Even should your two fans don't recognize them.
We don't get fancy things like dressing rooms or paychecks.
Look, Zuan's part's right here. Jolt. And you changed a lot of it up. Ah, we need to change some of it back. Are you serious?
Right here in New York City, you're doing your thing, and all these people came out to see you.
Seriously, Joel? It's 25%, 25%. 25%, 25%, 25%. Not.
Proceeds are going to the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Oh wait, no, it's not. Yeah, I can. Okay.
You don't need things like recognition or fame or okay goodness.
Okay, oh wow. It's a good. Oh my gosh! I wanna run with you in the last one now. I'm so glad they're no longer doing offset as much anymore. And now it's sorry. What? Yeah, but still.
But still, that's famous.
I know, and you're still on set still.
Yeah, but you're not getting my point. You're getting millions and millions of more viewers because they're in New York.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Oh my gosh, you know what? Just forget. Here, take this. You know what? Forget it. Here, just I'm gonna verify hack it, and then you can and then Joel, are you gonna verify hack it? Freak, it's not unlisted. Oh well, doesn't matter. It's. Don't worry. All right, Zuhan and Rico, both of you need to fix his parts. Yeah, accidents happen. Calm down, Rico. Zuhan and Rico, we both need to fix your parts. I'll put them all on the level again. I'll fix the sink as well, and then it will all just be finished.
characters tap the Cal game, triggers the matchup with Wisconsin, and answers your
Okay, first, Rico, you copy it, and then take some touches up, then give it to Zuhan. Zuhan will fix his part. Then, I'll finish the sync, and after that, I'll call a day because actually, you know what, I'll try to verify it and then call a day a little bit afterwards.
But only one of the teams will go off with $50,000.